What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the current data points, what shorts did, and what analysts are doing behind the scenes. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi went up 1.03% today, 1051 the low, 1120 the high. So a lot of volatility again because of tariffs. It'd be really nice to have one full 24-hour period where nobody talks about tariffs. That would be absolutely optimum, but unfortunately that wasn't necessarily the case today. So you had a lot of optimism because of the exclusions that popped up over the weekend, and then throughout the trading day we had some kind of escalation coming from China. So they're signing some MOUs with, it looks like, Vietnam, kind of making some trade deals with Europe. So they're trying to turn the trade against the states, unfortunately. So a little bit more back and forth as per usual. And I'm sure Trump as well was relatively pissed off because of the recent data that did come out from China. That was last night. And so exports came in at 12.4%. 5.2 was the consensus and the forecast. Then imports was negative 4.3. And then the forecast was -1. Although some of this could be very misleading because it's data from March, and I'm sure a lot of companies were trying to mass order before the implementation of the tariffs. So still, it's misleading, but still nonetheless not really good for the whole kind of trade war type of scenario. So let me know your general thoughts on that. SoFi didn't really have any news today, no SEC filings or anything like that. Goldman Sachs did have their earnings and it was relatively good future guidance as well. So it moved up in accordance with that. So this is kind of comical. SoFi had better growth percentages on a lot of the key metrics than Goldman Sachs, but SoFi goes down post earnings like 5%, and then Goldman Sachs goes up. So kind of very weird, but today Wall Street did treat SoFi like a true fintech because a lot of the brick and mortar banks were moving higher because of Goldman Sachs. So you see a little bit more crappery happening behind the scenes as per usual. But aside from that, like I said, no news from SoFi, no SEC filings. Shorts did return 357,000 shares, 12.87% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 138.6 million shares overall are being shorted. So good to see shorts return, kind of taking advantage of somewhat the suppression throughout the day. So it kind of goes to show that it was unjustified, in my opinion, of course. Looking at the options, 3.95 million in calls, 5.21 in puts. 44% of all the options being done today were bearish in nature. And so far, based on at least what was done today, the calls, it looks like there's a consensus between 1150 and 12 for it to be above those levels for this week. So a nice recovery. Bears on the flip side are anticipating for it to be sub 10. And you have random pocket that was done at 850 for this week. So again, I think a lot of people are just unsure about what is coming for tariffs, and Goldman Sachs did do fairly well about their future guidance. Like I said, tomorrow we have Citi, Bank of America, so that could really move the banking sector a little bit. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Aside from that, these are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So a good level of buying done after hours, a lot of big ones, 1.08, 1.44 and so forth, 9.89 million, and then throughout the trading day just one first thing at 4.31. These are all the transactions on the dark pool, so a little bit quiet today in comparison to a normal day. So maybe shorts weren't really all that active, which again, we can kind of look at this and see that based on the teal line, they weren't really doing all that much. So kind of matches with it at 1082 though. It did close between these 2 points. So this S1 and S2, 996 will be a strong support. 1091 will be a key level for it to really fight back and get over tomorrow. And tomorrow there's not really that much in data points on the side note. But one thing I do want to bring up though is this. So sometimes analysts can change their estimates for a lot of the key metrics like earnings per share, revenue, and so forth without giving actual new ratings. So there was a couple of things that did happen. So earnings per share still sticking at that 4 cents. That's based on 13 analysts. And then the revenue, it did go from 740 million to 740.31 million. So very minor change, but at least it is relatively optimistic. And one thing, or at least several ratings that have come out recently, were negative. So maybe some analysts are giving negative ratings, but relatively optimistic on the revenue. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up. We'll have to wait and see, I guess, what SoFi does have in store for us for their earnings, but let me know your kind of general thoughts on that in the comments below. On the chart itself today, it did close above that ALMA, so $10.72. The next strong kind of point is going to be that 200-day moving average, and that is 1143. So SoFi is kind of just stuck in limbo between these 2 points, so we'll just have to wait and see what does come from most likely companies unveiling their earnings, just to give the broader market some optimism to either break out or lower. And then as well, hot topic is going to be tariffs and what happens. So yeah, it'd be really nice to have just silence or just full clarity without going back and forth or just alluding to more tariffs, because that's something that did come out today, which probably the market didn't like, is Trump did allude to pharmaceutical tariffs coming and also semiconductor ones, and that's going to be a special kind of grouping or whatever they kind of called it. So it's an interesting time that we are investing in. But if you do believe in SoFi or whatever else, take advantage, buy the dip, do what you need to do. I think it is near impossible to actually call the bottom on any of these stocks. So I think dollar cost averaging is the way to go. That's why I've been kind of buying SoFi a little bit. So I made a brand new portfolio like I shared with you. So these are some of the ones I did buy. Nothing really crazy, very small transactions, just on a side note. So I've done 2 purchases of SoFi. Today I did buy Adobe. I also bought Meta and also Nvidia. So yeah, I think overall I'll be dollar cost averaging whenever I'm down, let's say like 5 to 10% on a lot of these stocks. I'll just kind of increase slowly. No, like all these stocks are absolutely solid. The only questionable one to some individuals that I guess isn't really profitable is Lucid, but I feel like the tide is turning with them. But nonetheless, let me know your general thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Give yourself a shout out. Did you buy SoFi today? Did you sell? And kind of what's your general thoughts on the broader market? Are you guys getting frustrated as I am with tariffs, or do you think, are you taking it as a good opportunity to buy? Like, it'd be one thing if we actually did get like, I don't know, because you have doom and gloom analysts loving all this crazy volatility because they're just saying, hey, all these tariffs are going to really cause a lot of downside. Even the Feds, on the side note today, did state, as current circumstances play out, if the tariffs don't get removed, we're going to see roughly 5% inflation. So that's a lot higher than what was previously announced. I think the Feds did re-raise it to 3.9, so now it's going to be 5%. It'd be nice just to, like I said, have a full 24 hours of no tariffs, maybe even just remove some a little bit, hint, hint, Trump. But still, whatever, it is what it is. Let me know your general thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon and get buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point, so definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.